Hi, my name is Brad Feld. I'm a partner in Foundry Group, a venture capital firm based in Boulder, Colorado. We invest in internet and software companies all around the United States, and I'm also a co-founder of Techstars with my good friend David Cohen. I've been a friend and colleague of Jenna Matthews for over 20 years. We first met working together at the Kauffman Foundation, where I was an entrepreneur in residence and she was running a program for high-growth entrepreneurs. And I think it's just awesome that she's now working with Innovyz Start to launch a mentor-driven accelerator in Australia. Building a sustainable startup community is really hard. I believe there are 4 key principles that you have to follow. The first is that the entrepreneurial community must be led by entrepreneurs. Second is that you have to take a 20-year view and have a very long-term view that continues over time. Next is you have to get fresh blood continually into the system. And the entrepreneurial community needs to welcome any entrepreneur or anybody who's interested in entrepreneurship into that startup community. And the last is that you need to do things like Innovyz Start that engage the entire entrepreneurial stack. Cocktail parties and award ceremonies are nice, but they're not really the kind of thing that engage entrepreneurs over a long period of time and create robust startup communities. Accelerators like Techstars and Innovyz Start address all 4 of these characteristics. In Boulder, we've had an incredible experience creating what's become an amazing startup community in a city of only 100,000 people. One of the things that we've learned is that the key factor is not geographic size or population. The key is entrepreneurial density. The number of entrepreneurs tightly packed in a small area within a community or within a city is what really drives the startup community. And what it is the entrepreneurs plus all the people working for their companies and all the people involved in and around those companies. And that entrepreneurial density really plays into the notion of an accelerator, where the accelerators end up being a central force or convening force for the startup community. We've seen that in the U.S. and the cities that Techstars operates, including obviously Boulder, but New York, Boston, and Seattle. And in each case, Techstars has become an important part of the startup community, engaging entrepreneurs and mentors and investors and helping getting new companies up and running over this 90-day period that the program runs. So if you think about it, the accelerator is led by entrepreneurs. We take a 20-year view. Techstars has been operating since 2006, but we hope to see it operating in 2026. It continually gets fresh blood into the system. There are new entrepreneurs who are constantly coming through the program and working with existing entrepreneurs in the startup community. And the program itself ends up engaging the entire entrepreneurial stack: mentors, investors, entrepreneurs. Anybody interested in and involved around entrepreneurship tends to engage with the accelerator program. Entrepreneurs want to be around other entrepreneurs. As they become more successful as entrepreneurs, they end up mentoring each other. They invest in each other. They attract more entrepreneurs. They attract more capital. And this generates more success. And you end up with this situation where you have this flywheel phenomena of excitement and energy around the startup community because of the things that are happening. Lots of entrepreneurial companies fail, and so failure is part of the entrepreneurial process. But if you view failure simply as part of the entrepreneurial process, the entrepreneurs themselves, after they have a company that's not successful, are still welcome and part of the entrepreneurial startup community and go on to start new companies. And frankly, many of the lessons that you learn from companies that aren't successful are some of the most powerful lessons you could learn. One of the fundamental philosophies that we have in Techstars and we have in Boulder is this notion of give before you get. And I think this idea of giving before you get is key. Mentors contribute their time and energy into an accelerator program without a clear set of expectations about the results. They're contributing their time, they're giving, knowing that something will come out the other end, but without certainty of what that is going to be. You really have to weave this philosophy into the culture of your entire startup community. If you can do this, you'll create something truly amazing, where not just the entrepreneurs, but everybody else engaged in the startup community takes a view of giving before they get, because they view that, or they have a perspective that their contributions will be additive over time, and the cumulative rewards of the startup community will accrue to them directly and indirectly. I really believe that mentor-driven accelerators like Innovyz Start are absolutely key to this dynamic, both in terms of creating this viewpoint amongst entrepreneurs, but also creating a central focus for it. Remember that building a great startup community takes time. It takes a long time. And you're going to end up going through lots of different economic cycles. Sometimes things are going great, sometimes things are not going great, ups and downs. You just have to drive through them. When we were building Techstars, we obviously noticed that there was a global financial crisis happening in 2008 and 2009, but it didn't really impact the entrepreneurial communities and the startups that we were working with from a Techstars perspective, because these companies are very, very young. They're at the beginning of their lives, and the companies will take 5 or 10 years to get to a point where they have a sustainable business. Having that long-term view is so incredibly important, so that when there's a downturn in the global economy or local economy, you don't flinch and you don't back away from it, because you really have to keep driving through it. So take a 20-year view starting today to building a startup community in the different cities that you're expanding Innovyz Start into, with the idea that that 20-year view will pay off immensely for not just the startups, but for everybody involved in those startups. In closing, I want to just thank everybody and commend everybody involved in Innovyz Start for launching this exciting new accelerator. I've had a view for a long time that accelerators are not a zero-sum game, that the world can support a large number of them, and it's a very powerful model for not just economic development, but for entrepreneurial development and ultimately the creation of startup communities, which are the sustainable part of the core of economic activity in many cities. I'll be paying attention to the program and helping where I can. And my wife and I have decided to come to Australia in January of 2013. We're both huge tennis fans, and we've decided to come down for the Australian Open, which is something we've dreamed about for a while. And while I'm down, I'll spend a couple of days in Adelaide mentoring companies in one of the future Innovyz Start programs. So congrats. I'm super, super psyched for what you're doing. And let's go create some great companies.